Hey, Kasim, what's up, Mr. Man?
Hey, how are you?
Oh, just older, fatter, and balder. That's about it for me.
Yeah, well, there's not much we can do about that, can we?
So
I mean,
you
we could, but we don't.
good, yeah. That means I'd have to work out and reduce my weight. No, that's too much hassle.
It's too much.
So you all survived COVID-19 and everything.
So far,
But
so
I tell
far.
you, what you just when I read up, the more I read up on you, the more I'm amazed with you. I mean, you've been in it seemed like every damn band in rock history there, and you got the coolest name in rock and roll, Kasim Sulton. Isn't that the coolest name?
I'll tell you what, when I was growing up, it wasn't very cool. When I grew up, I grew up here on I live on Staten Island, and I grew up with Bobby, Billy, Tommy, Tony, Joey, Charlie, you name it, that whatever E you can put on the end of a name. And then there was Kasim. So there was one time I'll never forget as long as I live. I called a friend of mine, and I said, "Hi, is Stevie there? This is Kasim." I must have been about maybe 7 or 8 years old, and the mother said, "Who?" I said, "It's Kasim. Is Stevie there?" "Catherine? No, Kasim. Casman? My son doesn't know anybody by that name." Click. Traumatic experience when
Well,
I
even
was.
the nickname, you can be called Kaz. That's even cool too.
Yeah, but there's whatever. I mean, it's a cool name now, and yeah, it's okay. There's no sense, no point in changing it at this late hour.
But man, I'll tell you, I don't know how you did it. I don't even know how one person in a lifetime could fit in everything that you've done. I mean, from Cherry Vanilla to Utopia to Joan Jett to Meatloaf and man, just on and on, Hall and Oates, and I mean, just on and on. How did you ever find time to do all that? Do you have a clone somewhere?
When you put it like that, I'm kind of amazed myself. But at the time, it was just like, okay, the greatest thing is when the phone rings.
Absolutely.
And when the phone rings and you pick it up and someone says, "Hey, what are you doing right now? Can you come and play some shows with us, or can you do a record?" And you say, "Yes, I can." You never say no. Never. It doesn't matter what it is. The New York Philharmonic could have called me and said, "Can you fill in for one of the bass players? Tonight we're doing Wagner," and I would have said, "Absolutely." I can't read music. I do not read music, and but I would have said yes anyway.
I mean, saying you're just a bassist, that really does not give you the right deserves that you need to have. I mean, you're way more than that.
Well, I sing and I play guitar and I play piano and I write songs and I produce records and it just yeah, I'm blessed. I am a very, very blessed human being.
But do you dance, Kasim? Do you dance?
No, I don't.
Oh, see, there we
go. I cannot dance. I have 2 left feet when it comes to dancing.
Well, I tell you, when I look through your thing, it seems like there's one thing that keeps reoccurring, and that's Todd Rundgren.
Yeah.
How did you get in touch with Todd Rundgren? It seems like this has been something that really has worked out well for you.
It was a series of happy accidents that started with Cherry Vanilla. You mentioned Cherry before, who I love and adore. And Cherry, I was playing piano in Cherry Vanilla's band. I got that gig by some stroke of luck when I was about 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
And 17 and a half. And I met a bunch of people through Cherry that were very influential in the New York music scene. One of them being Michael Kamen, who was an arranger, producer, writer, film scorer, and just one of the sweetest guys in the whole world. He kind of took me under his wing because I wasn't really a very, very good piano player, but he showed me some tricks and took a shine to me, and we became really close. As part of the story, one of the other Staten Islanders who I admired and grew up with was Earl Slick, who was a guitar player. Earl was one of the first people to really become successful and kind of move off of Staten Island into the larger music scene nationally when he started playing with David Bowie. A friend of mine came over to my house and said, I have to drive Earl to the airport. You want to take the ride with me to JFK? I said, sure. I have nothing to do. I was living at my folks' home. I get in the car. We go over to Slick's house. We walk in the door. Slick says, does either one of you guys want to play with Todd Rundgren? And my buddy said, I don't want to do that. He said, Kasim, you should do that. I said, okay, I got nothing to lose. So he said, okay, when we get to JFK, call Michael Kamen up and tell him that you're interested in the gig. That's who told me about it. So I got there. I called Michael. I told Michael that I was interested in being in auditioning for Todd Rundgren. He said, you play bass? I didn't know you play bass. I thought you were a piano player. I said, well, and in fact, I am a bass player before I'm a piano player. So he said, okay, no problem. I'll recommend you hands down. He called Roger Powell, who was the keyboard player. And the next day I got a phone call from Roger saying, inviting me up to Woodstock. I borrowed $20 from my uncle, took an Adirondack Trailways bus from Port Authority in Manhattan up to Woodstock, up to Kingston, went to Todd's house, auditioned for the band and got the gig.
Did he want you at first?
No, he did not. He thought that I was too young. I had just turned 20 years old. He thought that I was too young, that I had never recorded a record before, I'd never been on a record. I had never been on a major tour. I'd never been on a plane. And Todd felt that they would have been better served with someone who had a little bit more experience. God bless, that's okay. I understand that. But I think my determination in trying to get to the next level of musicianship, and my stick-to-itiveness, and just, I was a scrapper. So I held on, and thank goodness for Roger Powell and Willie Wilcox, because they went to bat for me and they told Todd that I was the right person for the gig. And Todd said, I don't think so, but whatever, if you guys think so, we'll try him out. But when he doesn't work, it's my choice.
He's a goner.
So now here we are 45 years later and I'm still playing with Todd.
Now, when did you actually, when you started doing concerts and everything, when did you say, hey, I'm a damn rock star?
I still don't think that.
You don't think rock star?
Well, I don't, that's such a label. I am a musician, and I have managed to make a life for myself playing music. That's all I ever wanted. That's all I ever wanted to do, was to do nothing else but play music. And that I have had a pretty decent amount of success was just icing. That I play music every single day of my life as a form of living that's enough. Rock star, people call me that all the time, but
in grocery stores everywhere.
Yeah, actually, you're absolutely right. But I don't like to think of myself as that. But I welcome that label.
Now, when you started moving, it's so amazing to me. Now, your next step from Utopia, which you never left Utopia, but your next step from Utopia was what?
Well, the band kind of fizzled out in late 1985, early 1986. That we were having trouble selling concert tickets, and our record sales had kind of petered out. It was becoming increasingly difficult to get new record deals, and the band kind of there was more supply than demand. So when the band kind of just disintegrated, I didn't know what to do. I did not know what I was going to do because it was all I had known for 10 years of my life, my early life. I went home and I watched General Hospital for 6 months and didn't answer the phone. I had been really kind of depressed that this chapter of my life had ended. And it wasn't until I got a phone call from my best friend on Staten Island, a guy by the name of Tommy Price, who at the time was playing with Billy Idol. And he said that he was working with Joan Jett on an album, and they needed a bass player, and was I interested in coming and playing with Joan? And I said, yeah, sure. I have nothing to do. So I went and I did the recording sessions, and I hit it off with Joan, and I wound up being in the Black Hearts for the next 3.5 years.
It seems I've seen you in videos, and it seems like you really enjoyed playing that. Was that?
I love Joan. I love Joan, and it was a real departure for me from what I was used to at the time, which was kind of proggy, a little on the a pop side. But Joan was like hardcore rock and roll, with leaning a little bit towards the punk side of punk genre. And so for me, it was different. And working with Joan was just one of the highlights of my career. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. She's ridiculously hard worker, and
she's very nice. I've met her about 2-3 times. I've met her, and she's always been so nice to me and the fans.
She's a love. I really am so proud of my time in that band.
But so then you moved from that to, was it Meatloaf, right? That's what
no. I went from Joan Jett to Hall & Oates.
Amazing. That's crazy. That's just craziness right there.
Yeah, it was complete opposite ends of the spectrum. So I went from playing.
So you don't ever play with any losers. That's what you're telling me, right?
I've played with some losers. But the funny thing is that with Daryl and John, that's the kind of music that speaks to me the most. That kind of Philly soul, blue-eyed soul, R&B. So I loved working with Daryl and John. That was a really, really great experience for me.
Because I've heard some interviews with you. I mean, Meatloaf was so out of the blue kind of person. I mean, the whole group and the concept was strange to a lot of people. And how did you get involved with Meatloaf? Because I've heard one of your interviews that just cracked me up about you walking off stage and Meatloaf was there and you wanted somebody to get paramedics for him.
Well, what happened was, I mean, this all stemmed again from working with Todd and getting to play bass on the first Bat Out of Hell record. So I had a relationship with Jim Steinman and Meatloaf from 1977 when we did the first record. Actually, it was 76 we started recording it, and so I knew Meatloaf, and we started working on Bat Out of Hell 2 in 1978. Actually, I still have right behind me is some cassettes from basic track sessions from those Bat Out of Hell 2 and 1 actually. In any case. So I really had nothing to do with Meatloaf or Jim Steinman for the next 14 years when I got a call to come and sing backgrounds on Bat Out of Hell 2. Prior to, this is about 1991, I guess. Myself, Todd Rundgren, and Rory Dodd did the backgrounds on Bat Out of Hell 2. And then I went and I think I was still playing with Hall & Oates at the time. We were in Australia with Daryl and John, and we were staying at this hotel in Sydney. I went down to grab some breakfast one morning, and who was there but Meatloaf and his wife Leslie. And I was like, "Meat, how are you?" He was there on a softball tournament.
He played softball.
Yeah, he plays softball. He's an intense athlete, or he was at the time anyway. So he said, Kasim, it's so good to see you. As a matter of fact, he says, I'm getting ready to put a band together. And I need a utility guy. Are you busy anytime soon? And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, well, give me a call. About, I don't know, maybe a year later, he called me in to do the keyboard and guitar and background singing on in his band. And I wound up staying there for 17 years. 10 of those I was his musical director.
So was that pretty cool? I mean, I saw some of the concerts that you were in, and it seemed, that was pretty. I mean, they had a light show, they had everything. That was pretty cool.
Well, one of the easiest things to do is to be involved in a tour or a record that's very successful. There are certain perks, and it makes a somewhat difficult job very cushy. 5-star hotels, private planes, catering at the gigs, private chefs, and that's all well and good if the record is successful. When you're struggling to make ends meet, and you're in a van, in a bench van for
down
10
by
hours,
the river,
driving from Chicago to Denver, that's hard. But Bat Out of Hell 2 was so incredibly successful that it was a really, really cool ride. That right after the record came out, and I Do Anything for Love exploded. That was probably 10 to 12 years of touring. That was just really, really a real highlight for me.
So when you're talking about highlights, now when you in your whole career there, I mean, you seem like you've met just about anybody. What was the first one person that you was actually starstruck with when you first met?
One person that working with Ringo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got a call. We had done a Jerry Lewis telethon in the 70s. Utopia was the house band for one of the big jam sessions, and Ringo was drumming on the gig, and Bill Wyman played, and Spencer Davis, Kiki D, Rick Derringer, a bunch of other people. So I had worked with Ringo kind of tangentially once before, but one of the All-Star tours, Ringo All-Star tours, the bass player, the person who was playing in the band, Richard Page, had a health challenge, and they needed somebody to come in at the last minute. They called me. I came in, and I traveled with them for a few days and did like a half a show, I think. But working with Ringo, to be honest with you, the whole reason that I'm doing what I do was because I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan in 1964. So to get to work with one of them was, I don't know if it was the penultimate highlight of my career, but it's certainly up there.
Well, we did a thing with Ringo came here to one of the All-Star shows, and we took him around in a van. We went to like Waffle Houses and stuff, and just to see if anybody would recognize him, we'd tell him, go ask him for a French fry and stuff like that.
Hello, can I have
nobody
some
recognized him. Can you believe that? Nobody recognized him. We drove around for hours and nobody recognized him.
I'm sure that he loved that on some level.
He was really cool. I mean, we had a beaten up van and we're just driving him around.
He's a wonderful guy. He really, really is. But when you're a Beatle, what do you have to be angry about?
So what do you got going on now with you? I mean, I saw it with that one album of yours that had a cool concept. You had people send you pictures.
Yeah.
And that was part of of all these pictures of all your fans. And that was really cool.
Yeah, I wanted to do something on my record cover that was inclusive for all the people who love and support me over the years. And I thought what would be a great idea is to solicit everyone to send me a picture. I'll put it on the album cover. We got, over 300 pictures, and it was really great. And then it was like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to how are we gonna put all these pictures on an album cover? And that's what we did. And that's how we did it. That's the front of the record, which is more pictures. But if you sent in your picture, you got it on this album cover.
That's cool as hell. I mean, where'd you come up with that? I mean, why? That's amazing.
I'll tell you exactly where I came up with it. I don't know if you're familiar with there are posters out there. There are art posters that have like the Statue of Liberty, but it's made up of all little individual photos of people or things.
Yeah.
And so that's where I got that idea from.
I saw that. I said, that's unique. I wonder why nobody came up with that before. I mean, that's a great concept.
So basically, it comes from an idea in art that's quite popular. Actually, it's making a picture of pictures.
So, what are you doing right now? I mean, are you touring or are you still just relaxing?
So I just tomorrow actually my new record is. Where is it? Where
come on.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Oh, geez.
Hold on. Where did I put it? Where did I put my album?
It's in the drawer.
No, it's not in the drawer. It's somewhere. I have a new record out. I just had it in my hand. What the hell did I do with it? I don't know where it is. I have a new record out. It's called Kasim 2021, and it's being released tomorrow. Here it is. I got it.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I got it. So that's my new record, and it's a really, 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 really good record. And oddly enough, I solicited fans because I love. My fans are the best fans in the whole world, and I love them so much that there was one song on the record that I decided, you know what, I need some background singers on it. So why don't I ask some fans to sing backgrounds on it?
Oh, wow. You didn't ask me. Ah, damn.
I put it out there. It was on Facebook. It's on Facebook. It's true. And so everybody who put a vocal on it, I put their name on the inside of the CD.
That is so cool. That is so cool. And so are you going to be going on tour promoting that?
Well, I just did a few shows, actually. I did some shows here on the East Coast. Right now, it's still, for me personally, it's a little difficult to book shows because things are just starting to get back to some kind of normal again. So it's been a little difficult, and some people are still reticent to go to shows and to be in a venue, in a smaller venue, because I tend to play a little bit smaller venues, like, the 200 to 500 seat venues. So I did 2 shows, and now I'm going to be going out on the road with Todd Rundgren in a few weeks.
That's a surprise.
Yeah. And then once I'm finished with that, I'll come back and I'll do, because by then things should be opened up a lot more.
So when your next, I know this is probably going to be one of your highlights. When's your next time you're going to be coming to Little Rock, Arkansas to play? You know what? I would love to be down there tomorrow. I played in Little Rock, actually. No, it wasn't Little Rock. It was Oklahoma. Oh. I was close by, but I wasn't there. I'm sorry. So, well, I tell you, Kasim, this has been a real pleasure. It's kind of like a bucket list. I mean, after reading up on you, I'm like, man, we could to do an interview for you. It'd be a documentary, which have to have part 2. So,
yeah, well, you're one of those guys that said, well, you should write a book.
Are you going to?
I don't know. I don't. Right now, I'm busy. I'm busy enough right now.
Contact your fans and have them write it for you. Seem like you have success with that.
That's actually not a bad idea. Just take out all the stinky bits.
But guys, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, because you got to have all your stuff organized so you can find your album. But it's been a real pleasure, man. I think
Roy, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, you take care and organize your office there.
Okay. Yeah, I will. But That's okay.
Okay,
All right,
take care,
man.
man.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Roy.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, look at that, Kasim Sulton. So that he's just a cool dude. But this is kind of interviews that we do on www.arkansasshowcaseradio.com show. And this guy was just great, man. When first time they contacted me and said, "Hey, would you like to do an interview with Kasim?" I'm like, "Sure." Now I'm like, who the hell's Kasim? But man, the more I read up on him, I mean, he's done shows with Celine Dion and Joan Jett, Meatloaf, Hall and Oates, just everybody you can think of. He's done, Patti Smith and all this stuff. He's done with everybody. So when you see that album, go ahead and buy it because you're going to get your money's worth out of it. And but this is just www.arkansasshowcaseradio.com show, bringing you another interview just for you for celebrities. And we have a bunch more coming up. So stay tuned, check us out, and share it with everybody. That's it. Bye-bye. Roy Doyle, www.arkansasshowcaseradio.com.